Thanks for tuning in to the Tom Auto channel. We're on the 04 Suburban and we're ready to look at the second leak that we're ready to attack here. Well, what I have here, a couple weeks ago we took this, this vehicle was in here. We saw a leak at the transfer case, not quite sure where it was coming from, so we brake cleaned it, got it all clean, and 2 weeks later, it's wet again. But it's not coming from the normal spot you would normally see from the seal from the two halves, but it's a little bit further back where it's starting to get wet. It's further back than your center line of the two halves. It's back in here, and most of you guys are going to know where that leak's coming from, is back where into the oil pump area. So what we're going to do is get this transfer case out. We're going to be splitting the case, and we're going to show you what we think it is, and we're going to show you the fix. Okay guys, we've got our transfer case up here on the bench. One of the first things that we see, there is another a leak that we kind of suspected, and it's this rubber plug. Now we'll be removing that once we get it clean, but the leak, as you can see, it's wet in here, but it's dry here. Our other leak was over here where we want to show you. As you can see, it's wet right up in here, and I know we're going to find probably a crack or something worn in the case in this area, because it's leaking here and it's running down. Okay guys, we're ready to take this case half off. One of the first things we want you to be aware of, there is a plug right back here. We want to clean our surface. This is, you know, this one you can see, but if it was really caked in there, you may not see it, because we need to remove it so that we can access the snap ring that's in here that will release this case half from the shaft. So anyway, we wanted to bring that to you, be aware of that. We don't want you taking all the bolts off and then trying to pry this thing off because you didn't see the plug. So we're just telling you that ahead of time. We're gonna go ahead and start removing our bolts right now, and then we'll show you what the snap ring pliers that we use and get that case off. We will be getting a new plug in our kit. Sometimes if you don't, we have been able to pass. If this was the only leak, we could clean this, and we can also put some silicone back in there and put it back on top if we catch it in time. Break it, see, I'll break it loose first. Okay, well, there we go. Okay. On that, yeah, see if we can. No, it's just awkward. Okay, once we get it past, okay, I think we're past it, so there we were. Let's take a look. I mean, it's out of the groove for the most part. That was just a luck. It just happened to clip. Those things aren't touching the speed sensor. Huh. We did have our clip that just got hung up there. Once we got it squared up, it popped out. The speed sensors, yeah, we pulled them. Was it really necessary? I guess it was, because they had to come past the bearing. So my bad. So anyway, what we're doing, we've got the case split. We're going to be looking for a leak. The fix for this, if it's leaking, is the other case half here. Let's position this where we saw the leak. We saw the top one, but right in this area where it's all wet, it was dripping down here. We're going to be looking down. Well, it looks like somebody's put in some type of saver here. Don't look like it was doing a whole lot, but this is here's the area. Well, it looks worn to me. Right there, that thing was still wearing out. So we do have a new case half here, and we'll put in another one, but somebody might have put that in just a little bit too late, or that's part of it. But yeah, it's worn out, and that's where our leak's at. Okay guys, got the snap ring off and my pliers are on the ground. So anyway, when you're taking it apart, just lay it out in order. Be sure you do your research ahead of time. The bearing, just take reference. The snap ring groove in the case goes up at the tail shaft. Just kind of stack them as you go. Here's our trigger wheel. This is for our speed sensors. This has got an automatic transmission or an automatic shifting for the transfer case. Yeah, it does have an automatic tranny. And this is how it engages our four-wheel drive for the automatic. Here's our oil pump. It has a wave washer. Be sure you do not want to lose that. Like I say, just stack it. We already removed the pickup screen, so let's go ahead and remove our oil pump. Now this oil pump's got a rotor. We've got a nice seals here. Feels a little rough, but again, if we're going to do it, we'll probably wind up putting a new one in. So let's put our thing back in, our rotor, our bearing, snap ring. Well, I don't think I've seen one that tough in a while. I don't know what to say. That thing's in there. I mean, there's no wonder why it never leaks from the front seal. But anyway, our snap ring's back here. It better be. Yeah, there it is. Well, what makes this seal so hard is that on this particular model, it's got a real hard seal right here that's also pressed on to the output shaft going to the front differential. It's pressed there and on the case. This is really, I guess I could have drilled some holes here, used some screws and a hammer, a slide hammer. It could have came out easier. We chose this way. So here we are. We got access to our snap ring. We're going to continue to pull this apart. Is there a tool out there for removing? I can tell you right now, I built one for installing it, which will go in there. We just tap it. Then it's a lot easier to install than it was to take out. But anyway, we built a tool for those. Must be on camera. It won't come out. All right, guys. Or they say, third time's a charm. There's case. How about the sixth? Flip it back over. Well, there's our front sprocket going to the front drive line in our transfer case. We'll just lay that out over here. We'll check our bearing. We got lateral movement, no, and it spins pretty free, so we're good there. We'll pull our shaft coming out for our shifting fork mechanisms, and we'll pull out our input shaft. This goes to our rear drive line. In here, I'm guessing we'll find some clutches, or this has to do with our automatic engagement with this fork here. So we got a couple plugs that will have to come out right here, because this is what this pivot's on, and then we'll be able to get down to our planet and have an inspection on what we got going. Okay guys, we're gonna need to get this front seal out. A lot of times you can drill holes in here. You can put a wood screw, a grabber screw, and be able to use a pair of diagonal cutters to get it out. Today, we were able to get in behind with the pointed all looking deal. And once we did, we were able to, you gotta go softly, there's a little bit of a nick here, but it's not gonna, we'll sand that. It's not gonna hurt anything. And just work it around. Once it's up, we can get a screwdriver. A little bit more leverage and Because what we're trying to do, we don't want to go in next to this shaft and put a nick in this shaft, even though, yes, it can be repaired. If we do any nicking, and if it happens to be right here, it's not going to leak. So as you can see, we just from the softness of the aluminum or magnesium, whatever they're making it out of, it put a little ding. No big deal. We'll make sure when the seal goes in, it doesn't catch any edge. No harm, no foul. She just doesn't want to come apart, Ben. Almost had her. Here she comes. Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man-eater. Well, guys, we've got it taken apart. The bearings they're really smooth. The ring gear, we'll get it cleaned up. We'll look at the ring gear, make sure there's no chips or any pits in it. All the bearings look great. We'll need to do some prep on the surface here on this side. Even the fork inserts look good. So we did see some plastic pieces down here. We'll fish them out, find out, where they come from. But anyway, this will kind of conclude the tearing apart of this transfer case. Again, just like on the video on the rear axle leak, once we were there, we wound up doing the brakes. We came in here, found our leak worn out where the pump goes, and we found some other things in the magnet. So while you're here, we're going to take it down, clean it, inspect it, because with 260, I think, 1,000 miles, and they're going to Texas, man, we don't want a problem. So guys, thanks for hanging around on that disassembly of the 246. We've got it torn down. We've got it in the prep process, getting everything cleaned. We're looking at what parts that we're going to need. We already know we need the case because it had the hole in it. We took it all the way apart. We'll get all the seals, O-rings, and we're excited about putting this thing back together for the fine folks at Chasing the Wild Wonder as they take their trip to Texas. So stay tuned for our upcoming video. As you see over here, we have a unique situation on a 4R70W with the wiring, the lead frame. We have a short in it, and we're going to go over that with you on what to look for, because there were no codes at all. It's just, how are we going to find out what it is? Stay tuned for that video. Enjoy, and subscribe, ring that bell, and comment are always welcome. Have a good day. We'll see y'all later. And we got the pressure off the planet, pushing up. It's not hanging from the four. You know why they call it golf? Because the other 4-letter word was taken.